The Day the Sky Split, Chapter 4. Tabitha had woken up in a pile of sweat and sand as Karina, a member of her caravan, woke her up. As she looked around, the first thing she noticed were the pieces of shipwreckage around her, a result of the fall from earlier. Her head was splitting and she was horrendously dizzy. "It's okay. Take it slow," Karina instructed as she lifted Tabitha up. The world seemed to be spinning. To Tabitha the horizon looked inverted, as if it had been rolled up into a scroll. "Where are we?" Tabitha asked. "We've landed on some desert island," Karina replied. "The captain said once everyone comes to, we're going to head to the oasis." She pointed to a point far away, a green drop on the horizon in a sea of coarse tan sand. As her vision cleared, Tabitha saw she was not hallucinating. The horizon really had warped. Even the sun had bent, and so had their perspective of the landscape, more so than they could have predicted. As she dusted herself off, the sailors and the caravan headed away. They marched, and marched, and marched on. It had been hours when they noticed the oasis was not getting any closer. At first they thought it was just another optical illusion, but Matthias had concluded that the oasis was no closer than it was when they began. Karina's throat burned, feeling needles every time she swallowed. "We'll never make it," she cried, about to collapse. "I know it may seem hard," Tabitha said, as she helped Karina stand, "but Tertalia did say, sometimes the flame brings ash, which can help the saplings—" "Not right now," Karina interrupted. "You're always doing this." Tabitha felt her heart sink. "Karina, I know things are dark now, but that's when we need to heed the gods the most." "Oh, yeah?" Karina gestured toward the demonic hand in the sky. "What do you think he has to say?" Tabitha's heart sank. She knew Karina's faith wasn't the strongest, but to see her deny the gods like this was disheartening. They continued on, several of them carrying the limp, comatose bodies of those who passed out from the heat, having to leave the dead behind. Tabitha hated the idea of leaving them without a proper burial, but she didn't think the gods would want her to abandon the living for the sake of ceremony. The weight of the young man she carried on her shoulders pained her, but she knew the pain of loss. While the oasis seemed as far away as ever, they had reached the base of a mountain plateau. Due to the odd shape of the sun, the structure formed two shadows, meaning they had more shade for them all to rest in. This was possibly the only good thing that had come from the hand. The group split in half, and agreed on a time to regroup and continue. As they settled, Tabitha and Matthias started tending to the wounded in their area. However, Tabitha noticed that Matthias could barely stand on his feet. He was becoming dehydrated. She rushed to him, grabbing a canteen she kept in her robes, a quarter full. "Drink this," she said, as she handed him the bottle. He hesitated, but she insisted. "Erythea said that charity means little if the person giving it suffers not." The two stared sternly at each other, until the captain decided to drink the water. "Thank you," he said, with a tremble in his voice, almost crying. "Don't mention it," she said as she took the empty canteen back. "Without you, we'd have no hope of navigating this wasteland, or any of the other atrocities this thing has thrown at us." Just as Matthias had started to smile, they heard a voice from the darkest part of the shadow they were resting in. "Oh, you won't be able to do that," the voice said. A man came forth from the shadows. He was clad in dark robes, his hood framing a pale face that had a maroon handprint emblazoned across it. "But my friends and I have a way out." End of Chapter 4.